Welcome back to the deep dive. We have a stack of sources today that are going to feel a little bit like looking directly into the sun.
Yeah. A little uncomfortable at
A
first.
little uncomfortable, maybe a little blinding, but absolutely necessary if you want to see what's actually going
I
on.
like that analogy.
We're talking about professional performance, high stakes environments, and a massive, just glaring discrepancy in how we treat different kinds of professionals.
It is one of those topics that once you see the pattern, or I guess the lack of a pattern, you really can't unsee it. It totally changes how you look at every classroom, every office.
Exactly. So let's start with a scenario we are all familiar with. I want you to picture, the absolute highest level of performance in sports.
Okay.
Let's say a quarterback in the NFL. Or you know what, even a high school football player who has dreams of playing Division 9.
Right. Big dreams.
It's Friday night, the lights are on, the band is playing, they play the game, the whistle blows, game's over. What is the absolute first thing that happens regarding their performance?
Oh, the tape. Before they even go home, before they sleep, they are thinking about the tape. They're getting ready to watch the game film.
Right. It's immediate. It's not next week. It's not next month.
No, it's now.
They sit down, often with a position coach, maybe the head coach, and they don't just watch the highlights. They dissect the game, frame by frame.
Every single play, the good, the bad, the ugly.
They look at their footwork on third down. They look at the way their head turned when the linebacker blitzed. It's so granular.
And it's not just the pros anymore, right? This whole culture of the tape starts in, like, peewee leagues now.
Oh, yeah. Parents on the sidelines with iPads.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Parents are filming practice. Strength and conditioning workouts are recorded to check form. If a high school kid walked into a recruiter's office and said, I want to be a professional, I want to make millions, but I refuse to watch video of myself playing, what would happen?
They'd be lashed out of the building.
Laughed right out. They'd say you weren't serious.
Not at all.
The foundational belief in athletics is you cannot improve what you cannot see. If you aren't watching the tape, you aren't actually training. You're just, I don't know, exercising.
Okay, so hold that image. The obsessed athlete watching film. Now, let's pivot to a profession that is, I would argue, much higher stakes than throwing a leather ball around.
Oh, much higher.
Let's talk about teaching. We trust teachers with the minds of the future, the cognitive development of the entire next generation. But if you ask a teacher, even a veteran with 20 years of experience, when was the last time you watched your own game film? What do they say?
For the vast, vast majority, the answer is never.
It's not rarely.
No.
Never.
That is just, it's wild to me.
And it creates this massive tension. I mean, think about it. We have a profession where growth is mandated. We spend billions of dollars on professional development, workshops, conferences,
All these initiatives.
all of it. But the primary mechanism for growth, the objective review of what you actually did, is completely, totally absent from the daily workflow. It's like a pilot flying purely on feel. No instruments, no flight recorder, just vibes.
It's a crazy way to fly a plane.
So today, that's the gap we're diving into. We're looking at a concept called the instructional mirror, and we're pulling from some really provocative source material titled Who is Coaching You? And connecting that with some insights from the FETC 2026 keynote about something called the infinite game.
And I think we need to set the stage on the mission here early. Because usually when we talk about tech in schools, or AI specifically,
Oh yeah, it goes to one of two places.
right, the conversation goes straight to how do we grade papers faster? Or how do we stop kids from cheating?
It's always about the logistics or, the policing.
But this is different. The mission of this deep dive is to explore how AI can serve as a private, non-judgmental, 204/7 instructional coach
A coach for the teacher.
for the teacher. We're talking about using this technology to finally fix that broken feedback loop for the adults in the room.
A coach that never sleeps, never judges, and is always watching, but in a good way.
Precisely.
Mhm.
And honestly, whether you're an educator listening to this or a manager leading a team or just someone who's kind of obsessed with self-improvement,
Yeah.
this is about how we get better when no one else is watching.
So let's get into the why. Why haven't teachers been watching the tape? I mean, is it just that they don't want to? Our sources describe something they call the lone wolf problem.
And it's really the structural reality of the job.
Yep.
I mean, think about the average day of a corporate professional versus a teacher.
Okay.
In an office, you're often working in teams. You might be in an open plan space. You're collaborating on shared documents. People see your work. It's visible.
But a teacher,
A teacher walks into their room, the bell rings, and that door closes. For the next hour, they're on an island. They are the lone wolf.
The source material paints a pretty exhausting picture of this. It mentions a teacher teaching, what, 5 periods a day?
Yes.
They're grading papers while shoving a sandwich in their mouth during a 20-minute lunch. They're fixing the broken stapler. They're dealing with the emotional crisis of a teenager in the hallway. Then they finally go home.
And in that entire whirlwind of activity, that entire day,
Yeah,
who coached them?
right.
Who offered a single piece of actionable feedback on their actual technique?
Nobody. Because nobody was there to see it.
Nobody was there.
Yeah.
It is profound professional isolation.
Hmm?
I mean, you're surrounded by people, the students, but professionally, you are completely and utterly alone.
And that isolation must make self-reflection incredibly difficult
Yeah.
because you have no baseline, right? You
No.
have no one to bounce ideas off of in the moment.
None. You're guessing.
The sources use an analogy here that I absolutely loved. It's the race car analogy, and I think this explains the why better than anything else I've read.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
So imagine teaching is like driving a high-performance race car. You're in a Formula One vehicle.
Okay, I'm with you.
You are tearing down the track at 200 miles per hour.
The adrenaline is pumping, full focus.
It's full intensity. As the driver, your brain is it's maxed out. You are navigating these hairpin turns. You are watching out for other drivers, the students who might cut you off or, crash.
Right.
You're monitoring your fuel, your engine temp. You
Yeah.
are making hundreds of micro decisions every single minute just to keep the car on the track.
Okay, so you're driving at 200 miles per hour.
Now imagine someone in your headset asks you to change the oil
What?
while you are still driving 200 miles per hour.
You'd crash. It's impossible.
It's cognitively impossible. And that is what we expect teachers to do when we tell them to reflect while they
Ugh.
teach.
Wow.
When a teacher is in the middle of a lesson managing behavior, checking for understanding, adjusting pacing because the fire alarm just threw off the whole schedule.
Or a kid needs to go to the bathroom.
Exactly. Dealing with all of that. They cannot simultaneously step outside of themselves and objectively analyze their own questioning technique. It can't be done.
They are just trying to survive the lap.
They are in the race. And in professional racing, the driver isn't expected to analyze the car. Right. Who does that?
The crew chief, the pit crew, the people with the data.
Right. The guys in the pit are watching the telemetry. They're watching the tire pressure. They're on the radio going, hey, you're taking turn 4 a little wide. Tighten it up.
The driver just drives, the crew analyzes.
The driver drives. But in the classroom, we've effectively fired the big crew.
We've stripped them away. We've left the driver alone on the track doing 200 miles per hour, and then we wonder why they crash or burn out.
It's the perfect setup for burnout.
Now, to be fair, there is a crew chief technically, right? There's a principal or an administrator.
Right, there is. But look at the math, which the source points out, and it's pretty stark. In racing, you have a whole team for one car.
A whole team.
In a school, you have one principal,
Mm.
one crew chief for maybe 50 or 60 cars.
Mm-hmm.
And they are all driving at the same time.
So the principal can't possibly watch the telemetry for everyone.
It's just impossible.
Yeah.
So what happens? The principal comes in once in September, watches you do one lap. Then maybe they come back in February and watch another lap,
Single lap.
a single lap.
Yeah.
And then they try to give you feedback based on that tiny, completely fragmented sample of your performance.
That's like telling the driver, hey, remember 3 months ago on lap 4, you shifted gears a little late.
It's useless.
Mm.
The context is gone. The driver doesn't even remember lap 4 from 3 minutes ago, let alone 3 months.
Yeah.
And frankly, the feedback is often inaccurate because the observer only saw 0.1% of the total performance. This lag time, it destroys the value of the feedback.
And I think this leads to the other big barrier the sources mention. It's not just the logistics, it's the culture. There's this idea of sacrilege.
Yes, this is the psychological defense mechanism kicking in.
It sounds so heavy, sacrilege, like we are violating a church or something.
Well, for many educators, the classroom really does feel like a sanctuary. It's their private domain. There is this deep-seated belief that documenting the classroom, putting a camera or a microphone in there, is a violation of that sanctity.
Like, don't bring Big Brother in here. This is my space. This is my craft.
Exactly. But our source argues, and I think this is the hard truth we really have to swallow, that this view has no basis in professionalism.
Oof.
If we claim that our goal is student achievement, and if we know for a fact that reviewing performance improves outcomes, then refusing to document the work isn't protecting a sacred space, it's hiding.
It goes right back to the quarterback. If he told the coach, the huddle is a sacred space, don't film me, Where is he on Monday?
He's on the bench.
Yeah.
Immediately. You don't get to go pro if you hide your performance. And the source argues that teachers need to decide, do they want to be amateurs in a private room, or do they want to be professionals in a high-performance environment?
That is a tough question. But let's pivot to the solution, because for a long time, even if you wanted to be a pro, it was just hard, right?
Oh, it was a nightmare.
You had to set up a tripod, the audio was terrible, you had to transfer these huge files.
It was a whole production.
But that barrier is gone. We are now in the era of the instructional mirror, and it's powered by AI.
This is the core of it. This is the solution.
This is where we get to the good stuff. We are talking about using AI not as a replacement for the teacher,
Never as a replacement.
but as a thought partner.
That reframe is absolutely essential. We have to stop thinking of AI as some robot teacher that's going to take our jobs.
Yeah.
In this context, the AI is simply a mirror. All it does is reflect back reality.
And the most important feature of this mirror, according to the source, is what they call the no feelings advantage.
This is the psychological unlock. It's huge.
Yeah.
We talk about how defensive we get when a human critiques us.
Oh, absolutely. If my boss walks in here right now and said, hey, that intro was a little long, my immediate internal reaction is, you don't get it. I was setting the mood. Back off.
Right. It's an emotional response.
Yeah.
We feel judged. We feel our status is threatened. Our ego flares up.
Yeah.
But what if a machine analyzes the transcript and says, the introduction was 4 minutes and 32 seconds long, which is 20% longer than the average for this format?
I don't get mad at the machine. It's just data.
Exactly. It's like a bathroom scale.
Yeah.
You might not like the number on the scale, but you don't scream at the scale for having an opinion.
It doesn't have an opinion.
It doesn't have one. It has a measurement.
So the AI offers objective truth without any of the judgment.
And because it doesn't sting, because there's no interpersonal friction, the teacher is infinitely more likely to actually accept the feedback and make a change. The defensiveness just melts away.
So let's get practical. How does a teacher actually do this? The source lays out a really simple core workflow. It's 3 steps: capture, input, reflect. Let's walk through it. Step 1, capture.
The goal here is to get raw instructional data. And the good news is you don't need a film crew. You don't need fancy equipment. You need the device that is already in your pocket.
Your phone.
Your phone, that's it. Most smartphones have these incredible voice memos apps now that do live transcription. You walk into class, you hit record, and you just set the phone on your desk.
That's simple.
That's it. The source also mentions photos, which is a good point.
Right.
Maybe you snap a picture of your whiteboard at the end of class. Or you take a picture of a student's worksheet, with the name redacted, of course.
All of that is raw data.
It's all data. But the audio transcript is the most powerful tool right now because it captures the flow of the lesson, the actual words that were said.
Okay, so I've taught my lesson. I've got this transcript or this recording. Now step 2, input. This seems like the tricky part, the part where you could go wrong.
This is where you have to be smart. You can't just dump a 50-minute transcript into an AI and say, fix it. It won't work.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Precisely. You have to give it context. The source calls this the coaching prompt.
And why is that context so critical?
Because the AI is blind. It wasn't in the room with you. If there's 5 minutes of silence on the tape, the AI might think, oh, the teacher stopped working or the class was chaotic.
But really, the kids were just reading quietly.
Exactly. So you have to tell it, in this section, from minute 10 to minute 15, students are doing independent reading. Then the AI understands.
You're creating a mental model for the machine. You're giving it the rules of the game.
You're the director. You are telling the AI, I am a 9th grade biology teacher. This is a lesson on mitosis. My students tend to struggle with the vocabulary. Please analyze this transcript and tell me. And then you give it a very specific lens.
That specificity is absolutely key, which leads to step 3, reflect, the output.
Right. The AI takes your raw data, filters it through the context you provided, and then it gives you actionable patterns. And the pattern recognition is where this technology just blows human observation out of the water.
And human can't catch everything.
Human can't. We have biases. We get distracted. The machine just counts.
The source had a great example of this, the whole math versus chemistry issue.
This was fascinating. So a chemistry teacher records a lesson. In their head, they think it went okay, maybe a little rocky. They feed the transcript to the AI.
Okay.
The AI analyzes the student questions, just the questions the students ask, and it points out a pattern. 80% of the questions students asked were not about chemistry concepts.
What were they about?
They were about the algebraic equations used to solve the chemistry problems.
Wow. So the teacher thinks they have a chemistry problem.
But they actually have a math problem. The root cause of the confusion isn't chemistry, it's algebra.
A human observer might have totally missed that.
They might have. They might have been looking at classroom management or the teacher's tone or the slides. The AI just counted the data. And that single insight allows the teacher to pivot.
So tomorrow.
Tomorrow, I'm not reteaching the chemistry. I'm doing a 10-minute refresher on how to rearrange this specific type of equation. Problem solved.
That is the power of the instructional mirror. It shows you what is actually there, not what you think is there or what you hope is there.
And this connects so deeply to the philosophy that was mentioned in that FETC 2026 keynote, the whole concept of the infinite game.
I've heard this term before, but break it down for me in the context of a classroom.
So most of education is treated as a finite game,
Meaning?
meaning there are known players, fixed rules, and an agreed-upon objective. There are winners and losers. You pass the test, you finish the chapter, you win the grade. The goal is to end the game.
Check the box. Summer break is the finish line. We're done.
Exactly. But learning, real deep learning, is an infinite game. The goal isn't to win. The goal is to keep playing.
To keep getting better.
To keep getting better, to keep adapting. Because the world doesn't have an answer key. The game is always changing.
So how does this AI coach help us play the infinite game?
It enables the micro pivot.
I love that phrase, the micro pivot.
In the old finite model, you get observed in October, you get a written report in November. The feedback loop is months long. That's too slow to adapt.
It's ancient history by then.
It is. The micro pivot is about today and tomorrow. You teach the lesson today, you get the data tonight, and you make a small, tiny adjustment for tomorrow's lesson.
So it's not a massive overhaul.
No, it's continuous iteration. It's the difference between steering a giant ship by looking at a paper map once a day versus having a live GPS that updates your position every single second.
You're constantly making these tiny course corrections.
Tiny corrections. And those tiny corrections, when they're compounded over 180 days of a school year, lead to absolutely massive growth.
I want to make this really concrete for the listeners. The source provided two specific scenarios that I think illustrate this perfectly. Let's look at scenario A, the physics lecture.
This is such a classic example of refining delivery.
So the setup, we have a physics teacher. They're explaining current flow in an induction circuit.
Which is heavy stuff.
Very heavy stuff.
It's dense. And the danger with dense material is that we, as the experts, we tend to over-explain. We slip into pure lecture mode because we want to be so precise.
We just talk and talk and talk.
We just talk. So this teacher, they record just 10 minutes of their explanation. That's it. They upload the transcript with a really specific prompt.
What was the prompt?
Something like, analyze my explanation. Did I use analogies that were too abstract? Did I ask open-ended questions, or did I just ask yes/no questions?
Okay, so very targeted.
Very.
Yeah.
And the AI comes back with a mirror. It spits back the data. It says, you spoke for 9 minutes and 15 seconds uninterrupted. You asked one question to the very end.
Let me guess.
Go on.
Does that make sense?
Does that make sense?
Ouch. That is the classic teacher trap. Every student just nods.
Every student nods. Nobody learned anything. It's a throwaway question. But here's the thing. Hearing that from a principal feels like a reprimand. It feels like you failed.
But from the AI.
Seeing it on a screen from an AI just feels like a data point. The teacher has this moment of, oh my God, I'm boring them to tears. I am not checking for understanding at all.
And the micropivot.
The next day, that teacher is hyper aware of their talk time. They consciously build in a pause every 3 minutes. They prepare 3 really good open-ended questions beforehand. They've improved instantly.
Now, scenario B is different. This one is called the solution generator. And I like this one because it addresses the burnout factor. This is about reclaiming time.
This is huge. The lone wolf teacher spends so much of their evenings just searching for resources. It's a huge time suck.
So the context for this one, the teacher realizes mid-class that students are confusing voltage and amperage. They're just not getting it.
A classic, tricky concept.
In the old days, what does that teacher do?
That teacher goes home, stressed out. They spend 45 minutes on Google searching voltage, amperage analogy, water pipe activity, reading a dozen forums, looking for a YouTube video, trying to find a lab they can actually do with the equipment they have in their closet.
And suddenly it's 9 o'clock at night and they're just exhausted and frustrated.
Right. Now enter the AI thought partner. The prompt is, my students are confusing voltage and amperage. Create a simple hands-on analogy involving water pipes that I can set up in 5 minutes using just beakers and plastic tubing.
Hyper-specific again.
Exactly. And the AI just spits it out.
Instantly.
Instantly. It gives you the script for the explanation, the step-by-step setup, and the checking for understanding questions to ask afterwards.
So the efficiency gain is staggering.
You went from 45 minutes of frustrating searching to 2 minutes of generation, which leaves you 43 minutes to actually gather the materials and think about how you'll present it.
You get to spend your time being a teacher.
Yes, you
Oh.
get to be a teacher again, interacting with the materials, thinking about your kids, rather than being a glorified search engine.
You get to be a teacher again. That really resonates. It's about clearing away all the administrative clutter so you can actually focus on the craft of teaching.
And when you clear that clutter, you have the emotional bandwidth in the mental space to actually reflect. It becomes a virtuous cycle.
But, and there is always but we have to circle back to the resistance. Because even if I know this is good for me, even if I know it saves me time, it is still scary to look in the mirror.
It is. Vulnerability is really, really hard.
The source uses a metaphor that is, well, it's a little gross, but it is so effective.
Oh boy.
The booger analogy.
We have to talk about the booger.
Please explain this to the people.
It's so simple, but it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Think about why we use mirrors in our personal lives.
Yeah.
You would not go to a big meeting or a first date or even just to the grocery store without checking the mirror first.
Of course not. Standard hygiene.
You check your hair, you check for spinach in your teeth, you just do a quick scan.
Right.
Now imagine you walk around all day interacting with hundreds of people, but you refuse to ever look in a mirror. What is your single biggest nagging fear?
That I have something on my face. A piece of spinach? Or a booger?
Exactly. Teaching without reviewing your own lesson is like walking around all day, hoping that no one points out the giant booger hanging out of your nose.
Why are you laughing? That is a terrifying and vivid image.
But it's the reality. You are performing. You are public speaking for 6 hours a day. If you have a verbal tic, if you ignore the entire left side of the room, if your explanations are accidentally confusing, those are pedagogical boogers.
Everyone else can see them.
Everyone else sees them. The students see them. Any administrator who walks in sees them. You are the only one in the room who doesn't know it's there.
And the AI is the friend who pulls you aside privately.
Yes, the AI is the trusted friend who whispers, hey, you got something right there, before you step onto the main stage, or at least before the next show. It's the private check-in, so you don't get embarrassed publicly.
That distinction, the privacy is what makes this entire system work, isn't it? It's not about the principal finding the booger and writing you up for it in your formal evaluation. It's about you finding it first.
And fixing it. It gives you agency. It gives you dignity.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where the whole sacrilege argument just falls apart. Is it more dignified to hide your teaching and make mistakes in public day after day? Or is it more dignified to watch the tape in private, fix the error, and present your best self to your students?
It's the aspiration argument all over again. You can't say you want to go pro if you're afraid of the film room.
You just can't. If we want to treat education as the high-stakes professional field that it is, we have to adopt the habits of high-stakes professionals. And that starts with the mirror.
This has been such a refreshing take. I feel like we usually get so bogged down in the fear of AI. You know, will it replace us? Will it ruin critical thinking?
All the dystopian stuff.
All of it. But we so rarely ask, will it help us grow?
And that is the most immediate, positive, and honestly the most powerful application of this technology right now. It turns every single classroom into a laboratory. It empowers the teacher to be the lead scientist of their own practice.
It's not about waiting for someone to save you or fix you.
No, it's about taking control of your own professional growth.
So let's wrap this up. We've covered a lot of ground here. If we had to boil it down, what are the key takeaways for the listener?
I think we can boil it down to 3 main points. First, just acknowledge the problem. The lone wolf nature of teaching combined with the race car speed of the classroom makes natural, in-the-moment reflection almost impossible. You need a tool to help you see.
Okay. Number 2.
Second, AI is that tool. But it's a mirror, not a judge. Its real power lies in the fact that it has no feelings. It completely removes that defensive ego reaction that blocks us from real growth.
And the workflow is simple.
It's so simple. Capture, input, reflect. Use your phone to capture audio. Use a specific smart prompt to give the AI context, and then use the output to find the patterns you would have otherwise missed.
And finally, the mindset shift.
The infinite game. This is not about being a perfect teacher tomorrow. It's about the micro pivot. It's about getting 1% better every single day based on real data. That is how you win the long game.
I love that. Now, we always like to leave our listeners with a final provocative thought. Something to mull over as you commute or head into your next meeting.
We've talked a lot today about the fear of the camera, the fear of being watched, the fear of looking in the mirror. But I kind of want to flip that.
Okay, I'm listening.
I want you to imagine that you had a private, completely non-judgmental coach watching you work for just 1 hour today. It doesn't matter if you're teaching physics or leading a marketing meeting or managing a team of software developers.
Just 1 hour?
Just one single hour
Yep.
of your professional life. What is the one thing you think they would catch that you are completely 100% unaware of?
Oof.
Do you interrupt people without realizing it? Do you say every third word? Do you favor the people on the right side of the conference table with eye contact and ignore the left?
That's a haunting question.
Hmm.
Because we all have those blind spots.
We all have the booger we can't see. The technology to show it to you now exists. It's not some future sci-fi thing. It's right there in your pocket. So the question isn't, does the tech work? The real question is, are you brave enough to turn the camera on?
Are you brave enough? That is a challenge. I think I might actually try it for our next recording session.
I'm going to hold you to that. We'll review the tape together.
Deal. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you in the next deep dive.